Our theme today is 9/11 Remembered, and we're doing that here in the first couple of segments. Gary and Dave and I were just rehearsing where we were and what our initial thoughts were as men, as fathers who heard on that fateful day. And I know all of you who are listening right now, you can recall, no doubt, just as clearly as we do, because fateful days like that just kind of, don't they just kind of burn a searing memory? That's what that did. And, you know, since that point, memorials across this country, they've been built. They've been erected in New York City and here in Pennsylvania, where we are, we're close to where Gary is located, Washington, D.C. You can bring up very easily lots of pictures, videos, articles that are available upon demand by the internet, all of them really kind of acting as a memorial, as reminders of that fateful event 18 years ago. But the real question is, what we want to talk about right now, what did our nation learn? Did we learn anything? What did we learn about the reality of evil, or the condition of our own hearts and lives, where our trust was, what we relied upon? What did we learn about the fragile nature of our security? Did we learn anything about the character and the nature of God? What about our churches? Did they learn anything that stuck? How about our politicians? How about our media? How about citizens generally? Well, that's a whole sense here, and as Rudy Giuliani just said a couple of days ago, he being the mayor of the city, we want to move past events like this, but we want to make sure we don't forget them. Well, that's a very biblical principle, and so I want to go there to you, Gary, right now. And I'm interested in what you're going to say, because I don't know what you're going to say. But in brief, what do you think our nation learned as a whole from 9/11? And did we learn anything? And if we did learn something, was it the right thing? Just kind of fill in that as you feel led, but I'm curious. What did we learn?
Well, I think that's a good question, and it may be a very difficult question to answer as well. What really did we learn? Certainly we know that it brought unity to our nation for a short period of time. I can remember when at least the House of Representatives, I don't recall if the Senate was with them or not, but they went out on the front steps of the United States Capitol and sang together, "God Bless America." You might be able to remember that. And I had the privilege of speaking at the Pentagon on Friday, 3 days later, and at a prayer gathering that took place outside the Pentagon. And I remember driving to New York, and the flags were everywhere, and our motto, "God Bless America," was everywhere. So for a short period of time, we were united. For a short period of time, our attention was drawn toward God. But unfortunately, I think that we've lost that. But as to what we can actually learn, number one, that there are people in this world that hate the United States of America. I think we can learn also that almost anything can happen at any time, and so we must be, as a nation, prepared. Another thing I think for us to learn is that our lives are as a vapor. As that vapor vanishes, we could die at any moment. People who went to work in the trade centers that morning or got on those airplanes had no idea that that was going to be their last day. And so it's important to make sure that you know the Lord so that when a tragedy might come or when death might come, you're ready to go to be with the Lord. But honestly, Sam, it's very difficult for me to say that we've learned one thing. But let me put it together in this statement and say truly what we need to learn, whether we are talking about a citizenry, a nation, a family, a church, or a person. We need to really trust in God, and we need to make that motto a reality in our lives. In God we trust, knowing He's the one who causes, allows, and directs all things to take place.
Gary, that is a good point. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a good thing. In what do we trust? God? Well, then, how's that manifested?